Well, hello there. Hello, Dark. Hello, Chib. Ever so slightly later than usual because I forgot to bring up chat and all the other stuff I have on my laptop next to me so that it doesn't crash my big computer. How are we all doing? I have many things open for these streams. Are we well? Is the week beginning fantabulously? I do hope so. Let's just pop over to this, which is nothing. But it's something. But it's also nothing. Yeah. So, we begin with... I was going to say an apology. I don't think apology is the right word. A clarification? An apology on behalf of the author of the book. How about that? So I spent... you and some guys smashed through several brick walls with your heads. That's something. Hopefully your heads are well, or you didn't need those walls. You're going to spend half the day writing down Mana Downfalls AU. Yay! I like the annotations on, like... Strictly speaking, the proposal doesn't need an explanation, but what the hell? What's going on there? So that was fun. But, yes. I'm glad people seem to enjoy that stream, because it was devoid of sort of visually entertaining content, so I'm glad the discussion was enough. Survival mode in Remnant. You're not easy to beat every boss first try as they power up. Cool. I'm glad. I'm glad you smashed through. I mean, I'm not glad you were banging your head against a brick wall. Anyway, sometimes you just have to make notes on the stupidity of characters. Yep, that's fair. I mean, it's based on the sort of horror movie tropes, and in horror movies, everyone's stupid. It's part of the appeal. So yes, I was flicking through this book. There it is. Before the stream, for about a quarter of an hour, just desperately trying to work out where anything is that you need. Because the book's not very good at telegraphing where that is, and because the book is so bad at telegraphing where things are, even when you're in the room with the thing you need, there is a point in your playthrough where I should probably, if I had memorized the book, I should probably have given you an important item. So I don't know if you want to retcon that and have the item now, or just go back to every room you've been to before and try and find it. I don't know. It's strictly speaking, you don't need it, but it is very helpful if you do. I don't know. I think there are multiple ways of getting through this book, but going back through every room sounds tedious. I mean, we've already... where's the map? You've already done almost all of it, so... DM solution, have it be loot or gifted later to cover your muck-up. Look, I want to be honest about how bad this book is at explaining what's going on. Yeah, and if I had bothered to memorize what happens in every room, I kind of wanted to keep it a surprise for myself, but it turns out that was a bad idea. I didn't want to know where things were, and I was like, oh, that's where the thing is. Turns out the book didn't even tell me where the thing was. So, Chris not give important item information? How shocking! How dare I? You're saying you don't want your mystical, magical pocket knife and the spider in a jar? You're saying you're not clear on exactly what those things do? And the cheese. Just cheese. You got just a lump of cheese in your... Sorry, you got 2 lumps of cheese. Yeah, so I don't know if you want me to retcon that, and give you the item that you should probably have at this point. This is why you're like, Odyssey, if you mess up, the goes that just turn up, give them MacGuffins. Like, I'm perfectly happy to have it semi-organically appear somewhere else, but I just felt like I should let people know the circumstances around how badly this game explains itself, because it's in a room where the book describes it as there's nothing in this room. So basically, Apologies for no art. Spent the day of family and then evening dog walking, to which is also being a bunch of support, mostly in spirit. I vote to burn down the door. These are all good choices. Hopefully you have a grand old time in doing whatever you're doing, and I hope you had a good day. Immersion! This world is the most immersive. What are you talking about? But yeah, I'm perfectly happy to just put it in the next room you come across. If you want it to do that. Just go to a random room, we'll find it in there, why not? There's nothing in this room, unless... Strictly speaking, hang on, how does it define the room? Let me find... I have my map up. It's here, so what is the room described as in the book? Yeah, it just basically says the room is small and plain. Basically what it says, that's as much detail as you get. The map looks like the inner workings of some creature, maybe it is. Small and plain. It's like, no, not at all. Not plain. Shocked face indeed. So yeah, I don't know what you want to do now. Apparently we still have a vote. Let me vote. Boom. Okay, so yeah, where do you want to go now? So little recap of what happened previously. Last time on the Citadel of Chaos, you found a room with a little wine in it. This took about half an hour to draw. Forgot about that. And you met the wine butler. And they gave you some wine, and they were very pleased that you liked the wine. And you gave them a smooch, and they were all very flustered and gave you a pocket myriad as thanks for being nice about their wine. You then went to some sewers and found a rope. You decided to jump on the rope, which turned out not to be a rope, turned out to be a snake. You knocked out Snake, and it's just laying there, so you can come back and get it as a pet when you finished. And then moved on because there was nothing particularly interesting. There was a room, you went back to a room, which you didn't investigate previously, with maths on the door. You opened it and went, ooh, it's simple. This is not the small plain room, by the way, because eventually there's no floor anymore, so can't find anything in a room where there's no floor. Smooch indeed. I would also like to point out that I called the VOD from the last, I titled the YouTube video of last week's VOD, Kiss from a Rose, because that's pretty accurate to what actually happened, and I'm annoyed I didn't come up with that pun at the time. So yeah, so that's what happened. Not a lot, basically. You got a pocket myriad. That's the thing. I had to draw that before the stream started. Yeah, and now you have done many things. You have now done that room. That's the big old hole in the floor. Just grab some good colours. This is the room. That's just a hole. Like that. So, yeah. So, what is there to do? Speaking of holes, there's one. Haha, it's a trench. Oh, actually, I did, as I was flicking through. Hang on, I want to find... it's one of these, I'm not sure which one it is. I found what this hole is actually called, this trench. It has a name, believe it or not. That's not the right... Oh, right, that's a different thing. It's got a really stupid name. Ah, yes, it's called the Doom Pit Trap. Well, it's called the Doom Pit Trap. Yes. I love that that's supposed to be a clue earlier on, and then when you come across this thing, you're like, oh, that's the Doom Pit Trap. But then why would you think that's the Doom Pit Trap? It's called a trench. It's not even called a pit. Yeah, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? You may or may not find something important there. based on how easily I can shoehorn the item in. If I mess up, I mess up. I'm owning it. No clean seams here. You see all the sewing, every thread. Can you use a Swiss Army knife on the locked door? You can try. The book is very vague about what it is, so I'm bet there's going to be some sort of luck-based dice roll involved. Yes, can we use the DAC? DAC? Let's try it. Okay. Did we have an image of the doors? By which I mean the physical entities as opposed to the band. No. I guess. So you're... Yeah, this. You return to the main hall. Beth returns to the main hall, I should say. The effects of the wine starting to wear off ever so slightly. She's no longer hiding on the under the table. For once, she's in this hall and not hiding under a table. She is, in fact, over here. Trying to see if she can use her pocket myriad to make her way into the door. Does she succeed? Find out next week. Oh, the dwarf army knife. I remember you saying about it, yes. The fantasy setting, Switzerland has no place here. No, but given the naming conventions of these books, Switzerland probably does. It's where the wizards come from. So yeah, roll 2d6 because this is a strange old device, and whenever you pull out something, it seems to be different from the last time you pulled it out. So sometimes it's a knife, sometimes it's a corkscrew, sometimes it's a sword, sometimes it's the head of an axe. It's very difficult to work out what it's actually going to be at any point. What do you call it? Switzerland. Okay, the Dutch name for Switzerland. Ever. Switzerland must remain untainted. Hi, Miss Hayden. Me? It's me. Hi, how you doing? That's 6, which is lower than your luck, which means you pull out one of the heads of the tools, and it turns out to be, you're not entirely sure what it is. It looks like it's some sort of cross between a silly straw and a whisk. But it does fit inside the lock, and with a little bit of just jamming and twisting, you hear a big old snap, and whatever the attachment was snaps off. But the door also opens, so that's quite nice. You got a good thing. Yay. You did wells. So now I have to draw a room. Well, I have to explain what's in the room first. And then I have to draw it. Let me find, here it is. Oh, you heard the Zwitzerd part, yeah. Zwitzerds. What page am I looking for? 228. I always try not to tell you what page I'm on, but it's like, I don't think any of you have this book, so it doesn't really matter. If you did, you could just read ahead and do whatever. That's stuff. I think this is the page we want. Yes! You have a PDF of it, but you've not read it. Well, read up to the point where it... and then gasp in disbelief at where this thing is that you were supposed to find. Although, actually, to be fair, it kind of fits here. Also, others try and send them to you. No. Dark has the potential to be a cheater. Yes, so the door's open, and Beth steps inside and has a look around. The room is an elegant bedchamber, plushly decorated with fine lace and a fur carpet. In the centre of the room is a large four-poster bed. Why would you have the bed right in the centre of the room? I don't know. Trans good bean. Yes, well, it's not 228 now, it's 292. We've moved onwards because 228 was how you actually get through the door, which we've just done. Sitting up in bed, for there is somebody there, evidently awoken, or awakened, I'm not entirely sure, evidently woke by all the commotion, is a beautiful, sylph-like woman with long dark hair and deep piercing eyes. "What right have you in here?" she says with an uncharacteristically deep voice. She screams, apparently. I'm not doing that. With those words, this lady, with those words, her eyes turn blood red, and two jets of liquid fire shoot from them directly at you. What are you gonna do? A lady just woke up and is now shooting fire from her eyeballs. That's a thing, and I've got to draw it. We'll keep the vote that's up. Why not? Okay, how's this gonna work? Stare that can kill us. Real! So, here's the four-poster bed. Four-post bed. I don't know the lyrics. Does anyone know the lyrics? I'm gonna say there's sort of like a curtain arrangement on it. This is epic music for what's happening. It's probably more finely decorated than these just sort of oak. Okay, let's do this. There you go, now you know it's fancy. Someone turned these on a lathe. It's fancy. Draw a thing, cover it up, erase it, repeat. It said fur carpet. It didn't say fur rug. So the entire carpet is fur. That's weird. Don't even know what that song was. Neither do I. Just popped into my head. That's why you leave people who are day napping alone. To be fair, we entered the castle at night, so. How did I do this perspective? Did I do this perspective? That's a much better question. That's the bit I remember. Went a bit Vic and Bob there. My apologies, but bed was in the centre of the room. Thank you for reminding me. The room is not square. I think it explicitly said the room was square. I can already sense today is not going to be a quick one. Fur carpet for some reason. Dangerous, firing fire from your eyes when your carpet's made of fur. What are we voting on? You're curious about the book being about. That was just reference to the fact that the book didn't tell me that there was a very, very important item in a room that you were previously in and should have got. And so I'm going to shoehorn it in somewhere so that you can get it really easily. I need to draw this lady, don't I? Oh, I need to drink. Sorry, yes, we walked into a room. A lady's in bed, and she shot. I assume this has a headboard if it's in the middle of the room. She said, "What are you doing in here?" And is now shooting fire from her eyes. Ah. Tickly throat, no. Like any sane person would. See, I'm imagining Red Dwarf. Oh dear, voice, you haven't done this all day. Do you know what? I'm going to mute the microphone while I draw for a bit. And then cough until it goes away. See you in a second. I have not abandoned you. Be patient. They also said it's in the center of the room. They didn't say it's square in the center of the room. So it could be an angle as well, which would be very annoying. This is what I mean by, apparently the book said sylph-like features. So this is how I've interpreted it. Draw it like I draw literally everybody. Yeah, so there's sort of like... beams of fire shooting out right now. Hopefully the itchy throat's gone now. Fingers crossed. I'm sick of these unrealistic depictions of women with sylph-like features and fire eyes. I mean, come on. How's anybody supposed to live up to that? Well, I'm part of the Undead Union now. I'm an honorary member. I support them locally. Now I'll just be featured in the next adventure with Pippin and stuff. Don't have to do anything, I'm just there. That's fine. I sell cabbages. That's my thing. Cabbages and parsnips. That's a big bed, isn't it? Nave said fire and went laser. It was beams of fire, I believe was the expression. So it's sort of difficult to do that without looking like a laser. Oh, and it was jets. Jets of liquid fire. So lava, I guess. Well, there's not liquid. Fire doesn't have a form. It's a reaction of a form. So it's like... No, really. Yeah, they did specifically say liquid. Okay, fine. Better? Drippy fire. There's some very nice things on the wall. I'm not going to draw any of them because the book hasn't told me what they are, and I probably should know. So, oh, miss, you might actually get your wish now, because you're by a door and there's fire hurtling towards it. Granted, you're not the one burning it, but still. Oh, no, it'd be this side, wouldn't it? Get out of the way. Your broken myriad bit. Liquid fire is often how they say lasers or plasma in a fancy way. Stupid. Fair enough. Is liquid fire what happens when Flamio goes to the toilet? Is that what it is? I always draw Beth with the same expression, because it's like, what other expression can you give Beth when just walking into a room and somebody shoots fire at you from their eyes? That expression. Beth is either stoic or drunk. We talked about this. We designed the best characters. Pal, the happy-go-lucky, full of expression and life and character. And then Beth, who is Beth, like not taking any of this, and or wants to be drunk. Flamio has more expression. It must be said of the two of the partnership. Flamio is the expressive one. It's fantasy. You change the first letter, it's fine. Also, she's not looking at what's happening. Also in the Citadel of Chaos, it appears that the concept of perspective has vanished. We're in the non-Euclidean wing. Right. I'm going to have a little quick tiny little read ahead. Nope. Let's do... Because the book gives you two options. And I'm sure you're going to choose something else. Oh wow, this room is unforgiving. My word. Alright then. Perspective was invented by Italians, and Italians don't exist in fantasy. No, but the Italians do. They're not too far away from Switzerland. Perspective left with the sensible engineering. Also, why is it so... Ah, close enough. Floor's made of fur. Just want to point that out again. The whole floor. No, you're joking, but you know a book where the character goes to a fantasy version of Italy and it's called Talia. Wonderful. Oh, I've just realised it's hard to read chat on screen, isn't it? Should probably try and sort that out. There used to be a background when it was the mixer chat. Got to mess around with the CSS. She's an orc elf, so has all the resilience and stoicism of an orc with the arrogance and nonplussed elf and snootiness. So she's just unimpressed by everything. Also means her lifespan is longer than 60 years, which is nice. Yay! So that's good. I imagine she was probably also an apprentice to a dwarf, which is where she got a penchant for getting drunk. Right. What are we doing? We have 2 for hold up mirror to deflect the glare right back at her. 1 for dodge, duck, dive, dip, and dodge. Which is 2 dodges. 2 dodges. I can speak. Beth just has it all and gives away none of it. In Warhammer Fantasy, Tilia is Fantasy Italy. Wonderful. Yeah, so you roll 2d6. What is it about Italy that makes people want to make fantasy versions of it? Well, it had Rome. The whole Roman Empire sort of thing. So that's probably a useful base. And then several centuries of art and culture. Probably. I'd hazard a guess. Wine as well. People like having wine in fantasy. It's a good place to get that. I hear. I don't know. Fantasy pizza? Imagine all the things you could put on pizza. Make it like a slime pizza. Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting roll. I need to check the rules. Oh, you're lucky. Equal, it's equal or less. So well done. So as you go to grab the mirror out of your non-existent bag, your mallet space, you remember that you wrapped it up before you put it in there. Luckily, you just about managed to get the covering off of it, and point it directly at the beam of fire, and it just flashes right back, and by flashes I mean splashes, right back, and engulfs the entire bed in flames. The flames are surprisingly fast acting, I'm guessing because they're liquid. If there was just normal fire, just, you know, that, and with a few scream sounds, like that, probably a little more dramatic, maybe. The whole bed just completely is engulfed in flames and then gone in about 2 seconds. So it's a good thing you didn't get hit by that. They never go for fantasy pizza. I want to draw fantasy pizza now. I can. Ooh, remind me to do that. Yeah, you murdered her. Well, to be fair, she was trying to murder you. And I will say, if we were to follow the rules of the book, you had 2 options here. Either immediately leave the room, or do anything else, and you don't have the requisite item, and you would have died. So, well done. You put a lady to death, or maybe you're a bit evil. She's literally self-defense. She burned herself. You just held up a mirror. If you're made of mirrors and she did that, you wouldn't blame yourself, would you? So yeah, let's just I like how I invented a fantasy swear word on this stream. Cloth falling off. That's a long arm, look at that. Sonic's got big hands. Beth has long arm. What happens here? It creates a kind of feedbacky sort of thing as it splashes off. And then goes immediately backwards and then sort of starts spraying everywhere. And because it starts spraying everywhere, this entire thing starts catching on fire. There's a lot of drapery. The floor is made of fur, did I remind you? I think the arm connects to her shoulder. You did it so quickly it dislocated. Don't worry. And then once this is all over, actually I do need to check. Oh wow, that's very unfair. Whoops, everything's on fire now. And then what happens now is... Actually, I'll probably just copy this one, because it'll save time. I'm actually going to Wikipedia something right now because it's something I'm not entirely sure what it is. It's a historical thing. I just want to make sure I know what it's supposed to be. Okay, that doesn't... Oh, it's... Okay. Oh, right, that makes more sense. Cool. So yes, and all that remains in the ashes are two things unscathed that weren't immediately flammable. I don't know why she bothered making her rooms quite so flammable. And her immediate reaction to anyone coming in the room is to shoot fire at them. But these things happen. So yes, there are two things that lay in the wreckage. There is a small amulet of some description with what Beth knows to be an enchanted gemstone in the center. Because Beth knows her stuff. What with being an enchanter and a blacksmith and all that. And a sparkly gold fleece. By which I mean the hide of a ram or sheep or whatever, and not a knitted jumper of some description, which I would call a fleece. Did she know what the enchanted gemstone would do? Alas, not. Oh well, then maybe. Do we want to do another luck roll? It's been nothing but luck rolls so far. So yeah, just as a quick recreation, he came in the room, she went, "What are you doing here?" and then shot fire out of her eyes. You lifted up the mirror, bounced it back, boom, things went up in flames, boom, like that. At that speed. That's how quickly that all happened. Oh, look at that. You're getting right on the money, aren't you? Okay, you do know, or you recognize the gist of the jewel and the enchantment of the jewel in the center, and you realize it to be a powerful anti-magic jewel. Not enough to dispel magic, but certainly enough to cause problems for that to whom it is directed. Certainly something that would cast fear in the eyes of something which is significantly magical, particularly if it exists because of magic. But, you know, who am I to say? And you definitely find it in this room. This is where it's supposed to be. So yeah, what do you wish to? There's a little dressing table. It's like a hairbrush. There's some melted contact lenses. We eat it so it can't get taken away. I mean, that might possibly negatively affect your ability to use magic. You know, you don't know the range of this thing. It might not extend outside of you. Like, actually, no, not like. like the opposite of a radioactive tracer fluid put into your bloodstream. It's the opposite of that. You would want that. You would want something that can pass straight through you and doesn't affect you and goes far enough outside that it's not a problem. But, I don't know. Would it help against the haunters? Would it? Would it now? So yeah, what do you want to take both of these things? You don't know? Yes, we do. Fantastic. Okay, so I'll add those to your inventory. What is it? There's a golden fleece, and there is a magic amulet. Neither of which have images. I can't spell amulet. So they're going to appear as errors. There they are. Well, actually, I could probably nick... There must have been a magic amulet in Forest of Doom, yeah? I could probably nick that. There's a necklace. No! There's a wolf pelt, if I recolor that to be gold. No amulet. I'll draw it at some point. Anywho, then that's what I'm supposed to do against the haunters, really. I mean... What I will say is there are two things in the book that you can do to get through them. And one of them, you would literally never guess. So, maybe it's just worth banging your head against it sometimes. I don't know. Yeah, we'll just leave that for now. So yeah, you pick up the golden fleece and the anti-magic amulet, I guess it should be. It's magic, but it's anti-magic, kind of. Love it when we never guess something. Thing is, it doesn't matter in the book, because it tells you, do you want to do this? And you're like, why would I do that? And it turns out that was the thing to do. But in this setting, it makes it a little bit more obfuscatory, but you do have options that you didn't have in the book. For example, holding the mirror up against this lady. So you win some, you lose some, you know? That said, one of these items you should have received already by now, so... But hey, maybe if you got one of those items, you wouldn't have come to this room in the first place. You also wouldn't have been able to get in this room because you couldn't use the pocket mirror yet. But hey, this book is just a thing. Right, what do you want to do now? What we've just gotten burned in the book. If you had not immediately left, yes. And that's an instant death. So, good job. There is something you could have given her to quell her anger, but you don't have it. So. Yeah, so let's... Okay, great. It's one of those books. Again, these books are designed to be replayed over and over and over again. I never beat this as a kid for various reasons. Mostly the Haunters. They killed me a lot. But, yeah. That's why I give you the option to improvise, so that you actually have a chance of winning. Wasn't anything left but the Fountain and the Haunters, right? There weren't any places left to go, but there were still things left to do, I guess. So we have now done this. Turns out not a key. No. Turns out I was wrong, Mr. Map. This place is on fire now. Don't worry about it. You done it. So yes, we haven't been to the fountain. You still have Mr. Knife and your rocker friends with vials of fluid. An old man you didn't help. A fountain you didn't investigate. Still the woman here. There might be something to do with her. Because you just chatted and left. Although that might be the right thing to do. Who knows? You also just chatted and left with Park the Gark. There's still some books you didn't read in the library. There's the kitchen. You basically went in and out of that. You went in, said, I'm here to work, and then they gave you a tray and you left. You ran away from the gargoyle. You ran away from the horrifying furniture. And you got thrown out of the window by the Haunters. So, when you say there's nothing left but the Fountain and the Haunters, not quite right, but there's nothing left... Well, there's only one thing left completely uninvestigated, and that's the Fountain. You have investigated the Haunters, you just haven't got past them. Because of humble, unspecified arrows, I know. Being shot at you, indeed. So what do you want to do? Talk amongst yourselves. While you're doing that, I might as well draw an amulet. Is there anything we desperately need? Dunno. Have you been given any advice for things you do need? And if so, have you met the criteria? If not, it's a shot in the dark. Whoop. Nope, no, that's fine. Haha, see? I wasn't drawing on the wrong layer. It just made me think I was. Do you know what? This amulet, it makes so much more sense for it to be here than where you actually pick it up. Actually kind of glad I didn't give it to you at the time. Do you have medicine? You don't have anything you know to be medicine in your inventory. That's the question. Again, I'm very vague on what what the items do. Apparently. Apparently. I don't tell you what's going on. I thought it was adding an air of mystery, but apparently it's just deliberate obfuscation. Or more likely, I'm just forgetful. Okie dokie. Apparently it's purple. Purple and gold. Oops. Okie dokie. Looks like the Amulet of Kings. What's that? Is that a reference I should know? If so, my apologies. If not, what's that? So yes, if you wish to have any clarification on what any of the spells do let me know. You know, to close shut the doors of oblivion? No, not really. Not something I do over Sunday. Overlay. 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 Elder Scrolls? I assume you're talking about Oblivion. I've played a lot of Morrowind. I've played a lot of Skyrim. I have not played Oblivion. I feel as though this may be detrimental to your reference. This is not a very good picture, but don't worry about it. Oops, now that'll do. That was the job, right? Actually, we want this probably to be a bit. This is the magic amulet. I still can't spell it. And then if I save that and I how do I get this working? I do this. Then this. Hey, oh, bugger. I saved the background. How can you play Skyrim without Oblivion like Oblivion is the best? Because I just never got Oblivion was when I was doing stuff. Morrowind was in secondary school when I wasn't doing anything. And Skyrim was sort of towards the end of university when I also wasn't doing anything. Why is I've changed it. It's different now. Why? Who made this? And I know it was me. Okay, there we are. I refreshed the cache. Your brothers played Oblivion while you watched. Fair enough. Okay, so let's also, just for the sake of me being lazy, let's bring this wolf pelt that looks awful, and you know, make it all goldy. This is the golden fleece. I was having a bad day when I drew that. Okay, and now if I do this, and save, and do this, and save, because my system is elegant. There it is. Magic, right. After all that, we have one vote for go catch some haunters. Okie dokie. So, you wander through the corridor, up the spiral staircase, or the double helical staircase. Presumably not in the room with the horrifying furniture, because that would be unpleasant. Up some more, much more densely packed helical staircases. Not like Ash actually catched them like a real trainer. Didn't Ash die? Was that a thing? Did I imagine that? That they went to the ghost place and then everyone died? And then they came back inexplicably because it's a kids' show. But they were like ghosts for the episode and just sort of flying around. Did I imagine that? I remember the ghosts was my favourite as a kid. And we went on holiday somewhere and we stopped in a motorway service station. And there was a bunch of Pokemon comics just in there. I didn't even know there was a Pokemon comic, but there was one with the ghosts on it and I bought it. And I don't remember anything about it. But I remember really liking it. Anywho, so you go to the room with the haunters. Let us return. That was the thing, but it was an illusion or something? Oh, right. They didn't actually die. They just made them look like they died, like Darren Brown. Where were the haunters? When did you fall out of a window? There's a question. Was it really stream 4? We've had more streams after you've fallen out of a window than before. Ah, there we go. Like when Sabrina turned Brock and Misty into dolls. Oh, I remember that. That was weird. And then you were like in this little city with doll people. Ah, that's strange. It's a haunter. And there it is. So you re-enter the room with the haunters. This time, going in carefully. Knowing that your weaponry will do nothing, and there's a door somewhere in this darkness where it leads to a balcony with no handrail, which sounds like a violation of health and safety. Because it probably is. Yeah. But now! So you enter the room. Hang on, let me remind myself of how these friends speak. I say friends, they're not pleasant. They're just sort of right. So they speak in vaguely sort of back again, are you? This is my general. Should I give them like a higher voice or a lower voice? I don't know. There's multiple of them though. I don't know.
Yes, they came back again.
I see that.
They're not all intimidating.
Do you want some more punishment?
What do you want to do? Again, I want to remind you, I have no idea what this sounds like. I'm just turning off and on the button that says reverb. So hopefully it's working. But otherwise it's just me going like that, which is not great. What was that voice you hated me doing? I can't remember what that was now. Oh, it was the...
This voice. I see you have returned to our little room.
I think it was that one. Probably shouldn't do that when my throat is playing up. Anywho. The posh Brit.
Oh, I sure have returned to our wonderful abode. Isn't that right, brothers?
Yes.
Beth, being wiser to these things, is no longer frightened, scared of the haunters, and holds up before her, or after her, depending on which way you're looking. Oh yeah, it doesn't quite work, does it? No! Do it properly. There you go. She's actually sort of nonchalantly holding things up as well. That's another thing she does. She holds forth an amulet of anti-magique. Shimmers brightly in the nothing. Because it reacts to magical creatures. The one haunted with a moustache. Clip Studio, you're ruining my spontaneity. Yeah, that'll do. One of my favourite little features in Clip Studio is that transparency is considered like any other colour. So you can bucket fill transparency, which is great. No, that's not what I was doing. Bucket fill transparency. They're not too pleased by this. By this action. Allow me to find the page. 168. Here it is. The Ganges, or the Haunters, or whatever you wish to call them, gasp!
Begone, stranger, says a voice.
We will not bother you anymore. Take the door in the far corner.
Yes, take the door in the far corner.
Shut up, Gary.
And with those words, a door in the corner of the room opens and glows slightly. Gasp. Progression! Rock! Yay! Yeah, the Ganges, they don't like it. They don't like the anti-magic stuff because they're made of magic, so it's like anti-meat for humans. They ain't no good. Yes, so I presume you wish to leave. If I were you, I wouldn't hang around. That colour back in their cheeks. Yeah, let's move on. Cool. So, there, I dropped the book. I'm professional. Turn to 328. Let's do that. We leave enough. Like, should throw you out the balcony. Beth closes the door behind her, slams it like that. Because why wouldn't you? And she finds herself at the foot of yet another staircase, spiraling up into the tower. Climbing the stairs, she arrives at another balcony where a single door is the only way onwards. Trying the door, it opens easily, but as Beth pushes the door, a loud hissing noise comes from within. Like that. I don't know if reverb works with an S. Who knows? Can we just do that staircase in Dark Souls that I posted on Twitter? You clip through the staircase and fall through the tower back over the balcony again. Start at the beginning. Beth steps inside and turns cold as a huge six-headed hydra snakes towards you over the bodies. Snakes towards her over the bodies of its previous victims. Its six serpent-like. Well, I'm bad at speaking as it is. If you give me tongue twisters, I'm gonna have trouble. Its six serpent-like heads dart at you with vicious pointed teeth. Hydra. Righto. Boom. So this is the second snake we've met in as many streams. Only this one has 6 heads. Six snake skulls slithering silently. Shut up, your face. Suckering. Oh no, yeah. Well, there was an impediment involved there, wasn't it? The suckering succotash, or whatever it was. 6 serpentine surprises. Oh, that's Ice Age, isn't it? Pine cones, nutritious. 6 snake skulls, or what we'd like to call them, snarls. Big old lumpy snake. Right, so 6. One over there. As is tradition for me in drawing multiple snake heads, there needs to be one pointing the other way, having a good time on their own, not really paying much attention to what's happening. We had this trouble last time, didn't we? It has big teeth, wasn't it? Oh no, it didn't come up again. Oh, Jiffy, honestly. Why can't you just give us the address? Okay, snack number 1. Done. This one has a little mohican. It's a saber-toothed. Oh, there's another S. 6-headed saber-toothed, 6-skulled saber. Yeah. There it is. Nah! Assholes and many snakes. You will not be denied. This one's having a grand old time. This one is wearing a small top hat, as is tradition. Gotta have a top hat on your danger noodles. It's the law of the jungle. Then we got this one up here. We're standing up, alert like a meerkat. Excellent, no issues there. Change this around slightly, move that this over here. Oops. Nobody said the teeth had to be the same. Again, it looks like a dragon, doesn't it? It's whack-a-day. Should have done. Oh, there's 6 of them, isn't there? It's not. Gonna do 7 dwarves. There's 1 too many. Can this be called music? Okay, I have this friend as a stick. Which one? All of them? I think they're taking their guard duty very seriously, though. They're just in the room. They occasionally, an adventurer comes in, they get to have a snack. You assume there was a hiring process. They're just having a good time. Is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna anyone we like, we don't kill. We just knock them unconscious. I don't want to draw Beth just poking her head through a door again. Beth, you've been so shortchanged in this whole adventure. They have tiny T-Rex-like arms. They do. They're just not attached right now. They're put away for special occasions. You're all jumping into the room, coming down on the squat with a hammer at the ready. Who would have what? I think you just killed a snake and that golem. The golem, the top bit of the golem ran off, and will, over the next couple of thousand years, re-sediment into a full golem. And we just knocked unconscious the rope one because it's, you know, in order to kill a rope snake, you have to sever its threads, and it's difficult to do that with a hammer. So. Difficult, but not impossible. Was the golem ever alive? For tax purposes, no. Oh no, it's the leather socks, isn't it? A lot of this whole chaos organization is largely for avoidance of tax. What about the lazy woman gets sort of killed her? Yeah, it was karma. It wasn't you. You've been listening to the Villain's Rule, so the logistics of villainy is on your mind. Well, this is mostly finance. Oh no, that's the Flamio is usually in the left hand, but this time big head. This time the way around. Did we ascertain that Beth was ambidextrous? We did now. Right. She's from Skyrim. They're all ambidextrous. Was it Final Fantasy II that had different stats for different hands? And some characters were left-handed and some characters were right-handed. I forgot about the leather socks. Beth honestly can do whatever she wants. If she's confident enough to wear leather socks and chainmail sandals, she can do whatever she wants. Probably learned it interning whatever dwarf magic blacksmith. Well, they were half dwarf, half human. So... get all the blacksmithery of a dwarf with all of the... of a human. What are we doing? We have, is that one vote? My resolution scaling is not good. It is. 1-4 fights next and 1-4 it's whack and nay. Well, what do humans have? Elves have got arrogance, dwarves are good at making stuff. Orcs are big old strong friends. Like we have commerce, I guess. The humans are renowned for our what was it? Because I remember thinking this at the introduction to Lord of the Rings, and I was like introducing all the races, and basically we got the most stuff for no reason. I think it's like humans, you have everything. Why? I don't know. There's lots of us. Yeah, there's probably more goblins. Is there anything that humans are better at than all of the other fantasy races? Because we're not powerful. It took pity on us. And that's where the problem happened. Humans are adaptable, breed like rabbits, and learn quickly. Cool. So we're like viruses. Good to know. We have everything because colonialism. We have everything because Tolkien's like that. Anywho. We're bonking a stick. Right, let's have a look at stuff. I do want to check something, just, yeah. Okay, cool. So, come on, book. Okay, well, Beth begins the fight with the creature. Lots of hissing and thwacking and all these sorts of things. Eventually, Beth manages to swing so hard with a hammer, I don't know how hard it is, that one of the 6 heads just flies clean off. And by clean, I mean probably very unclean. Let's say it's this one. Without a roll or anything. You know that's going to be a good sign, isn't it? Beth seems rather pleased with her hammership until she realizes that where the head was now has grown 2 more heads. Classic Hydra move. It's Clam Man. Look at that. Suddenly Clam Man. Scripted fight. One of these days I will learn to draw snakes. Today is not that day. Everyone ready for Snacktober?
You're doing great, Sweaty.
Whenever anyone says that, I'm reminded of just how sweaty I am right now. This one has snake bite piercings. Do they work? No, they come out after this bit, don't they? And this one is has a glass of snake bite on their head. I can't remember what snakebite is. I remember my brother used to have it a lot. Dwarves reach maturity like 30 to 40, elves reach 50 to 60 and often have complications breeding too often, so their strength is being long-lived has its downsides. Humans are mature 16 to 18 and we can reproduce from then, that's why we win numbers. Great. You love Snacktober. I was trying to work out whether or not I'd actually do another Jockeytober. And I'm probably not, but I kind of want to do something like that, maybe? There's only so many times I can make a horse interesting. And then it might be bubbly. Anyway. So! I was right, there were 7 heads. 8, I guess. 7 simultaneously. 1 extra. Do that. What else does it say? It also says, during the confusion, during the subsequent thrashing around, and Beth not knowing what's going on with the heads coming out and going, it's very surprising. One of the other heads, presumably the one with the top axe, has got big old fangs, manages to bite Beth in the arm, like that. We strike off a head, 2 grow in its place. It seems that way. I'm not entirely sure how continuous that could be, but yeah. You lose 4 stamina. That's a bit harsh. Let's watch it slide down, eh? Ooh, there. You're on half health. 4, I know. Look at those fangs. Look at those big old teethies. Those are going into your arm. They'll go all the way through. You're lucky it wasn't a wooden arrow. Yes, sir. The problem with, in the first half of the stream, having a lot of my drink for the purposes of trying to clear this itchy throat, is I'm now out of drink. Okay. I'm gonna look something up again. peculiar. I should probably point out that there is a door at the end of the room, because of course there is. There it is. This one has some fancy wood paneling. For no reason other than I wanted to put some there. And a little raven on the bust of Pallas. I don't know what Pallas looks like. I don't even know who Pallas is. There we go. Pallas looks like this now. Anywho. Quoth the Raven. There's only doors. It's a mimic. Oh yes, you haven't encountered the door mimic yet, have you? Roll 2d6. No. What do we got? Throw them the bread to fight over, use as a distraction, move on. Use fire to hopefully stop the regeneration, and go for the trunk to put it down. Well, those are two different options, and they both have one vote. So, is there anyone else in chat? Ragdoll's here, I think. But, Quoth the Raven. What was I looking at? Need a mediator. If that mediator is a 2d6, you might be in for a bad time. Oh, okay, so that's interesting. No one has to do anything, don't worry about it. I'm just looking through to see how the book says this should all go, and of course it's not actually telling me any of the things you want to do. So I'm going to do a little bit of research. Haha! External research. What? Why? You know, every now and then, somebody looks at something, like they look at, like, you know, a NASA launch, or they look at a particular, you know, broom or something, and they go, oh, well, it's so phallic. Why does it have to be so phallic? Oh my god. I just typed Hydra into Wikipedia, and I got a small microorganism from underwater, and it looks like that. Like, that's going too far, isn't it? If a space rocket looked like that, I'd be worried. Anyway. That is the Hydra. A genus of small freshwater organism from the phylum Cnidaria and class Hydrozoa. That's penis. Oh, and it has nematocysts. Lovely. This is not a pleasant thing. But that's not the Hydra I was looking for, funnily enough, for the mythological monster. Oh yeah, for every head chopped off, the Hydra would regrow 2 heads. Heraclitus Paradoxographus. What the hell is paradoxography? Wikipedia, stop distracting me. One of the 12 labors of Heracles. I should read them someday. Should I? Is it interesting? Probably not. Okay, what do we do? Use fire to hopefully stop the regeneration and go for the trunk to put it down. Okay, so you wish to cost a fireball. One of the original Got another 20 minutes of this stream. Who knows what absolute gibberish it will turn into. He did one of the original but why he had to do Telv. Good for him. Any other sentence I could possibly produce in order to answer or respond to what you just said will inevitably descend into absolute nonsense. So let's just move on. Okay, so you're intending to use a fire spell. Fire. Okie dokie, you cast a fire spell, which... Pop. There goes the fire, or the spell from your list. Wasn't good for him, but thank you. I mean, good... I won't ask for spoilers. See, this is the problem I have with sort of spoiler culture and all that sort of stuff, is like, people say, oh, at least if it's been like a year, that's probably fine to talk about things, and then people won't get spoiled, because most people who want to know. How long has it been since the 12 Labours of Heracles? I think it's been more than a year. Spoilers for the 2,000-year-old myth, exactly. I don't know it. I might want to read it someday. I don't know how the Iliad ends. You know. Can't think of any other particularly old stories. Which one? Nope, can't think of a pun. Okay, how about the Odyssey? Homer's Iliad. Myth of Perseus? Sure, that. Myth of Perseus. Whatever Thor and Loki were up to. With Jormungand. That's a word I remember. That's the snake, isn't it? Anyway, enough. Speaking of snakes, haha! Segue. You cast yourself a fireball. Roll 2d6. Oh my god, the snake that circles the earth. Yes, circles Midgard. And then it goes to Asgard, and then also Hell. Midgard, yes. Midgardium Leviosa. So, the fireball hits and badly singes one of the heads. It burns the hair. Oh no. And they don't feel like fighting much anymore. But nonetheless, the other heads are still coming towards you. And snap! This little happy friend. Yeah, snap, snap. Goes for the other arm. Ow. Smaller teeth this time. They've only just been grown, so it's not too bad. You lose 2 health. Ragnarok is bad time for nearly everyone. Well, almost by definition. Thor and Jormungand will kill each other. That's not right. After Fimbulwinter. That's a one that I want. I like Fimbulwinter. That sounds like a fun time. It's probably not, but it's Fimbulwinter sounds like an old man in a whimsical fantasy world who like makes enchanted shoes. You know what I mean? Fimbulwinter's 3 years of consecutive snow, after which the end of the Earth starts. Yay! Nuclear winter. Or just a big volcano or something. Not sure what's supposed to do. To be fair, doesn't make an awful lot of sense. I thought it was part of the myth. Turns out it isn't. So I'm trying to work out a way of communicating what you probably should do. Oh, one thing I found out recently was where the word Armageddon comes from, which is linked to Ragnarok, of course. Wait, isn't Ragnarok linked to Loki tricking one of the gods who was technically immortal, apart from the fact that he needed to have a weakness, so he was immune to everything except juniper berries or something stupid like that. And Loki tricked him into being stabbed by a spear covered in juniper juice. And that sort of kicked off things. Fenrir's involved somewhere. I used to know some of this stuff. Yep, yeah, I remember some things. Balder, that's the one. That's my favourite dating app. For bald men. Yeah, I don't know, how do I don't want to give it away too easily. But at the same time, I want to let you know what's going on. Because he's not got a lot of health left. Was it mistletoe? I think it was a berry type thing. Balder, who's cursed with being invincible, can't really feel much as a result. It was mistletoe. See, I have a memory. And I don't have Wikipedia open right now. Other name for it? It has another name? Doesn't it have like a weird name like Pissweasel or something like that? It's completely off topic. Maybe related to the Germanic base for mash. Hmm. Well, that's quite a nice picture. Sorry. Part of the Saturnalia festival. I'm sure it had like a weird name. But Wikipedia's not helping me. So anyway, we should have looked up folk names. Balder's mother Frigg asked all plants and animals and everything not to harm her son because they loved Balder. Everything agreed Balder was invincible except for mistletoe, something like that. Okay, so mistletoe's an arsehole. Or just didn't get the memo. Their email was down that day. You know, these things happen. How do you deal with multi-snack? How do you deal with a problem like multi-snack? I'm trying to work out if there is any logic to this. I don't think there is. What's the least logical thing you can think of? How about that? Because I'm pretty sure everything else will get you killed. Oh no, there are actually a couple of things you can do here. You've used adventure logic, now you're stumped. Stumped! Try a tree. Hello, Kiro, how you doing? Welcome to Snackland. We're at an impasse. We have lost a lot of health. How? Because of Snack. Because Snack has bitten us many times. So just as a quick recap of what's happened in the stream thus far, for Kiro's purposes, we went in the door that we couldn't unlock because we used the multi-tool that we got last time. There was a lady in a bed who tried to shoot liquid fire at us. With our mirror, we deflected it, and she burned into ashes. From the pile of ashes, we regained a golden fleece and an anti-magic amulet. the anti-magic amulet was very good at fending off the ghosts that threw you out of a balcony a few streams back, and now you're in a room with snakes. And you chopped one of the heads off, but then 2 grew in its place. So fire's not working. You've tried fire, you've tried chopping off one of the heads with a hammer. That's impressive, but it didn't work. No apologies, you arrive exactly when you wish to. Like Gandalf. Kiro is wise wizard, confirmed. So yes, if you have any ideas, I will tell you now, there are 2 solutions in the book, and they don't make a whole lot of sense. Reminder of what you have in your inventory. Apparently you have a hammer, a lantern, naturally, 2 iron-tipped arrows, specifically iron-tipped, 12 berries, some berry leaves, 2 wheels of cheese. They're very runny at this point, they're probably mostly liquid. Some bread, wooden toy axe for some reason, don't know why I picked that up, a rope, some throwing knives which give you a guaranteed turn in battle, so if you want to have 3 free hits you can, some lead shot, spider in a jar, silver mirror, enchanted sword which gives you +1 to every attack roll, the pocket myriad which has a whole bunch of stuff in it. It's like a Swiss Army knife, but with magical stuff in it. That's how you got through the door before. A golden fleece, which you just picked up, and the anti-magic amulet. You also have a bunch of spells, as you can see there. Fire, not a great idea. You also have those spells. Creature copy, you make a copy of the creature. ESP, you read the mind of something. Fire, fire. Fool's gold, turn random stones into gold. Illusion. Levitation. Shielding. Physical barrier between you and a physical thing. Strength increases your strength. I can't remember what we said that would do. Did we say that would add 3 to your strength in battle? I think is what we said. 3 for 3 rounds or something like that? Can't remember. Weakness makes the enemy weaker. And then restore skill, restore stamina, restore luck. As you would expect, they restore half of your maximum stamina, skill, and luck, respectively. Could shield and then try and run past for the door. That's something you can try. Hang on, let me have a little gander at the specifics of this. There's an invisible shield in front of you, which will protect you from physical objects. The shield is not effective against magic, etc. Do you want to try that? Restore stamina when you get the chance. That's a good idea. Oh, I've just remembered what's after this. Hydra seems pretty physical. It's a pretty physical thing. It's magical as well, but it's not attacking you with magic. It's attacking you with massive teeth. I've just realised how thematically appropriate what is after this is. And we need to end on that. We really do. Directly in front, or we can move it to always face the snake, like rotate around us. There. It says in front, so I imagine it sort of comes out of your hand or something like that. Yeah, so you probably sort of hold up a shield. It's big enough to sort of cover the front of your body, or the side if you hold it to the side, or what have you. But it's not enormously wide. Yeah, we're trying it. You shield and try and Dark Souls your way past. Fair enough. Right, you use another spell. Plink, plonk. And you roll 2d6, please. Because you put up the shield and some of the snakes bonk into it, like that. But some of them are clever enough to realise that they can just sort of stretch around the side. Fortunately, the shield is slightly too wide for any of them. They're straining on both sides. If they work together, they would probably be able to get around it. But they're straining in opposite directions, so they can't quite get around to you, and you just manage to shuffle past with these snakes very, very close to your arms. And with your back to the door, you kick it open with your feet, and then just sort of roll backwards and kick it back closed again. And you get through the door. Yay! You didn't die. Hooray. So that's a thing. I could draw that, but I won't. Now, what do you find on the other side? I will read what I'm going to read first before you restore stamina, because it doesn't matter what order these things happen in. Rock! Yay! You slam the door shut behind you, as well you might. And you follow a short, narrow passage which winds round and brings you to the foot of another staircase. So many bloody staircases. Reaching right up to the apex of the citadel. The sign on the wall reads, "Halt! None may..." Hang on. "Halt! None may pass by the order of Balthus Dire." You realise you are nearing your goal. Cautiously you climb the stairs to the next landing, right up into the belfry of the citadel. In front of you is a solid metal door. I'm going to draw the door very quickly. Yeah. You try the handle, but the door is locked. You lift a small flap, big flap, and you can see large tumblers underneath. This is a combination lock that can only be opened by those who know the combination. Do you know the combination? If so, put it in. If not, work something else out. Who knew? Final boss of the game. Doors! Try every possible combination one by one. Well, Beth may wish to do so in the intervening week. Because now is the end of the stream. Eat food first. Yes. Do you want to heal before we go? You're in a safe space at the moment, so it's not too bad. Still do stamina, so we don't want to forget next week. Heal, we can try every damn combination. Yeah, I just... As you were desperately trying to work out a way of just about managing to get around the Hydra, I remembered that the only thing after this is a door you don't know the combination to. It's like... Hey, you gonna go back? Yeah, I don't know. To be fair, I don't think it says there's like... Oh, there's a trap on the door, and if you try the wrong one, you'll get exploded. I think it's just a combination look. Okay, so do you want to use a restore stamina spell? That will get your health up to 14. Gorge yourselves. On what? Do you know what the food does? Have you eaten any of this food yet? Because you just found this food in a pantry. I think you tried to give the bread to something, but it didn't like it. But apart from that, just use the stamina. We're gonna contradicting arguments here. What do? Vote now. How do you want to heal? While you do that, I'm going to look through the book to work out what these things actually do, because I've forgotten. That's not the page I was looking for. It's here. Sorry. That's not true. That's weird. I'm glad you didn't do that. You didn't do that either. Oh, cool. Okay. What do we, the berries are still standing with the trickster said. Do we trust the trickster? He gave us a sword and a mirror which saved your lives. So you think it's more of a prankster. Thuse said the lady from the washer and the wine guy were dangerous. Which they weren't. But the snake was smelly. Or was in a sewer. So far we have one vote for spell. And I'm gonna have an ultimatum of 30 seconds. Too much wine and kill, you never know what you could catch from people's clothes. I mean, you only drank one of the possible wines in the room. One of them might have killed you, you never know. Stamina smell and 2 berries? Spell, sorry. Trust the guy who blushed when we smooched them. That's fair enough. We all alright with a stamina spell and 2 berries? Cool. You use another spell, which brings your magic down to 10. And you restore your stamina up to 14, which is a very respectable number. Look at it go up. Yay! Look at that. Satisfying. You also consume 2 of the berries in your pocket. You have 12, now you have 10. Boom! And you wait for the effect to occur. And then everything starts to go slightly dark. And then... Boom, you fall asleep. So Beth's going to have a bit of a sleep for a week, and we're going to catch up with her next week. Them sleepy berries. I'm so glad you didn't use those in a dangerous situation. Well, she just died. Nope, she's just asleep. I hate how sometimes Twitch just clicks out of the chat and then you can pause and mute the stream. Would you like me to reiterate what I just said? Or because Twitch is being Twitch. You ate some berries and Beth fell asleep, and she's now having a big old snore. Which is fine because it's only, a metal door and the Hydra to hear her. Heard that, but oddly enough, you don't know what you missed. Oh, okay. It's King Vader again. I have not rigged the RNG so the King Vader keeps cropping up. It just does. Flamio's a good teddy bear. Flamio's like, great, I can get some sleep. Berries put you to sleep? Yep. You got sleepy betters. I don't know how they come into play in the actual game. I think you can give them to the little orcs, little orc babies, and then they fall asleep. But that doesn't really do anything. I probably shouldn't mention anything else in the game because you might go back and do it. What if, now bear with me, we force feed them to the snake? Don't know. Here's a question. Does a Hydra have a shared digestive system? But sleep isn't a digestive effect. Sleep is an effect of the brain. So it has to propagate up the nervous system, but probably from the digestive system. Yeah, it goes to the stomach first. I bet I can imagine there's a 2d6 roll in this. Because I'm unimaginative. Brain and all important bits of the Hydra are the connecting trunk. The brain is in the trunk. So they all have the same brain. Wow, I drew them as behaving very differently. There's some... I imagine it's still like a cluster of brains. Like they've still got all got their own personalities, I guess. Main brains and smaller brains in their head. Oh, so it's like the stomach. The stomach has its own. Hydra go sleeps. Sleep for the Hydra. Oh. Is it again? Go away, King Vader. I have like 50 facts. Why do you keep coming up? It is random. It's truly random. Maybe I should set it so it picks a random like order for all of them and then plays them in order so we don't get repeats. He's haunting us. To be fair, it's pretty ghostly when in his first incarnation. Dinosaurs are thought to have a main brains and then a hind brain because of their size and complexity. Well, we have a small brain in our stomachs. That's what I was thinking. That sort of runs its own tasks for the internal organs largely. But yeah, Beth's having a snooze. What a lovely ending. She's having a big old snooze. Yeah, and on that we shall end. Thank you everyone for coming along. Apologies for the coughing fit earlier. Snooze. Tomorrow. Where is it? Where's the thing? One day I'll learn how to use my own system. There it is. We continue with Castlevania Symphony of the Night, aka Seagull Simulator. And it's going to be a good time because it's fun. Past 20 already, we're going over time. Yes, it's 12 past 20 actually where you are, isn't it? It is 12 past 20. Well, I've got a name for the VOD, I guess. 12 past 20. Hero has no idea what we're talking about. Maybe it's Hydra in the trunk, or it would be like spasm a lot whenever the head's removed because of the nervous system adapting. I imagine it just would. It regrows heads, like, quicker than you can chop them off. It's probably got a system that prevents central nervous system spasming. Or maybe they're disconnected nervous systems. Maybe there isn't a central one. I'm gonna stop talking now. And I hope you all have a wonderful time. Music, as ever, is courtesy of Adrian von Ziegler. This is what we're going to end. We're going to end on one called Legend. I don't know what it sounds like, but that's what it's going to be. So, yeah. Have a wonderful time, everyone. Thank you for coming along for however long it was. And I'll see you at some point in the future. Enjoy yourselves and be good. Be kind. Goodbye.